Hey guys, this is Asad Siddiqui. I'm the owner and developer at iDesignSmart.com. And in my previous video where I was showing you how you can create a page from scratch using the Fusion Builder Live and the Avada theme, we quickly went over how to create a slider. That was a quick and dirty tutorial, so I wanted to cover that in detail because a lot of my clients use Revolution Slider for their sliders. So I wanted to go over and show you the things that you can do with the Revolution slider and give you an introduction on the new environment. There are a lot of changes in Revolution Slider 6.0 and we will go over some of that today. So what we plan to do today is create a slider with some basic slides. We'll talk about animations, parallax, background images, text images, and how you can animate on a character basis, and how you can do video slides and what are the effects available for that. So let's jump right into that. So what I did before, just to give you an overview, we had come up with the site that looks like this using the demo import content, and then that was my first tutorial, and then I created another tutorial where I created a page. So I will go to the dashboard and go to the pages and sorted them by date, and new home is the page we created. So basically we created a page from scratch, and I showed you how you can work with the Fusion Builder Live and create a page from scratch. So right now it says slider with alias slider 2 not found. So this page is configured to display a full width slider, which is slider 2. And if you'd like to know what the setup is, you can refer to my previous video. But now what we are going to do is to create a slider from scratch using the new slider Revolution 6. And we will go over the things that we can do. So let's jump right into that. Slider Revolution is open in another tab. And what we are going to do is to create a new blank module. So a new blank module is to create a new slider. Now note that the version I'll be using for Revolution Slider 6.0 is the one that is bundled in. I'm going to do another video where we will talk about the premium version and what comes with the premium version. Definitely there's a huge value if you are going to go premium, but a lot of people do not go premium and they decide to use the bundled in version that comes with their theme. So this video will primarily focus on the bundled in version. So new module from template, they have a lot of templates and really nice nicely built sliders that you can use. But again, if you click on that, it will ask you for like for example, if you want to do this and you click on this plus, you need a purchase code here. So if you don't have the purchase code, then you can't use this option. So I'll close this window and assume that we don't have the purchase code, and we'll go with a blank module. So once you create a blank module, it will initialize and create a new slider for you. So in the new slider, you can have a lot of slides. So, and each slide can have a lot of layers. But before we get into all that, the first thing that comes up is what you want to do with the slider. So a bit of a slider setup. Click on the start guide here, and then you're given three options. You can select whether you're building a slider. You can do a hero scene. Hero scene is like one picture display. Usually it covers the whole area of your whole viewing area, and it's just one slide. So basically it doesn't have like multiple slides and thumbnails and navigation, that kind of stuff. So this description, a scene is essentially a slider with a single slide and no navigation element. So that's exactly what it is. Carousel is like pictures that come in and go. So they can enlarge in the central view and you can navigate to different pictures, more like a slideshow kind of, where you see a major part of the picture as a preview. Carousel is a slider with multiple slides visible at the same time. So here slide 2 and 3 are not visible, but here slide 2 and 3 are visible. So that is basically the difference. We are gonna go with a slider. So I'm gonna click on slider and do the next step. So once we do the next step, it talks about width. so it says what kind of width do you like. So you can do auto width, you can do a full width, or you can do full screen. Again, these descriptions describe exactly what it is. The module will always span across the full width of a web page. So this is the one that I want to go with because I'm working on 100% width page template. So I'm gonna go with a full width. And in the next step, we are going to go intelligent inheriting because we want nice responsive slides. You can also decide to not display a slider. I don't display a slider on my mobile views, and the reason for that is I want to optimize it for speed. On a lot of 3G connections or slower network connections, you don't want your site to be slowed down, and you can decide what you want to do with it. So we'll go with an intelligent inheriting and go to the editor. So now our slider is created. You can see that there are 4 tabs here, which will be the slider options for the most part. This is the slider option, the cog icon. And you will see that there are a bunch of settings which apply to the slider. So right off, you can see that the title is slider 1, alias is slider 1. Because our page is configured to use alias slider-2, I'm just gonna rename this to slider-2. So whatever we do here is visible over there. All right, so we will just go ahead and just for the heck of it, just save it. So right now you can see that my slider dimension is 1240 by 900 pixels. So one thing that I recommend highly to you is to start off with images. For example, if I have to have background images on the slide, make the slider width so exactly it matches with the dimension of the image that you're gonna put in it. So that will be the maximum optimizing you can do for sizing. And usually for desktops, you never want to go over 1600 pixels because then you're just using a bigger image that nobody's gonna see. In some cases, quality is really important, so you want to decide whether you want to go with a higher resolution than that, or you're gonna go with a lower resolution and compromise slightly on the quality. So what I have here is I have a couple pictures. Slider 1, I'll just edit it to see what the dimension is. So looks like this is 1580 by 697 pixels. So I'll go with a 1580 by 700 pixels for my slider dimension. So how do you change your slider dimension? You can click on the layout menu here, and once you click on the layout menu, you can control the widths and the heights by defining your own width and the height. So I decided that I'm gonna go with a 1580 by 700 pixel go to my browser, put this width as 700 pixels, and now I can just save the image. And now I have oh sorry, I mistyped here. So I want to go 700 pixels, and now you can see that my dimensions for desktop here are changed to 1580 by 700 pixels. So that is layout setting where you define the dimension of your slides. So now there are also a lot of other things that you can do. You can change the these are just if you want to make it a stream based or content based slider. For example, you can pull stuff from your Facebook post or Twitter tweets from your Twitter. You can do Instagram, Flickr, WooCommerce. If you are doing a WooCommerce site, people can decide to create a slider that pulls the stuff from their content. So that is the content tab right there. Then you have general tab that tells you about dynamic viewport loading. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but I'll study more and figure out. Slideshow options, auto rotate slideshow if you want to stop on hover, loop single slide, or stop after it has animated or the slideshow has played 3 times. You can do random order. You can do wait for API, but that will create a delay. On scroll, you can do a lot of different effects. On scroll, you can do a parallax, timeline effect. So we'll walk through some of that and create a basic slider. So that is the settings tab with the cog icon. Then the next icon here is the navigation option. So you can do a spinner, you can do arrows, you can show progress or not show progress, you can do thumbnails here. So all the options, the how this design looks like to me is it's like a single display, so you don't have to keep going back and forth, and everything is there in the single display. This might be a little overwhelming for people that have been using it, but definitely it's very powerful. So there is a learning curve, but once you are over it, then I see that there is so much that you can do with this. And also the intent of this slider is to be capable to deliver full websites, not just the slider. So you can see that I will leave for you to for an exercise to explore what different kind of stuff you can do. Here, that is the slider background image for the slide, or like a video or whatever you want to put in. So you can put in a YouTube video, Vimeo, HTML5, transparent, you can do an image. And then if you're familiar with how Photoshop works, this will look very familiar because you can have multiple layers and each layer can be animated and you can control styling on it. So definitely very powerful. So what we are going to do is to create the first slide. So to create the first slide, we are gonna go to background slide options. So this is the slide we're working with. You can also do a layer. You can add layers, put that on your slide, and you can also create a new slide. So if you create a new slide, then there will be a new slide for you to work on, and this will show you all the slides in the drop down. So let's just go ahead and create slider number 1. So I'll use background image as a picture. I'll choose the original size, which matches with the slider size, and then I'm going to click on the media library. So I'll click on the media. Okay, I will select the file, and the file name is slider1. So we'll go slider1 here. Okay, so that is the slider1 picture, 1580 by 697. So everything looks good. I will just go ahead and insert it. So this is how my slider looks. Here is my timeline, where once I add other layers, you can just drag it to see everything that's going to happen to your slides. Now you should also specify the time that your slide will play for or animate for. So that I think you can do as 4 seconds, and we'll save the slide, and then we will just go ahead and see how it looks on our page. So we'll just refresh it, and now you can see that my slider is showing up. So it shows, and right now we don't have anything, just a single slide for our image. So that is what we have. Now we want the text to come in here. So what we are going to do is just add some text elements, and to do that we'll just add a layer. So then we can hover over add layer, and then you can do a text layer, and then you can do a headline. Doing this will let you choose from templated headlines. In my case, yeah, they are showing up now. It's just a little slow because it loads all the JavaScript and loads all the fonts and stuff like that. So let's say there are some nicely built headlines. I want to go with something simple like that, and this will put the layer style in there. So let's go a little fancier than that. And okay, so this is the slide I'm gonna go with. Once you click on content, then you can see all the content layers. So when I was doing this and went to text, it says content. That's the content. Okay, so now about styling the layer that we have. So first off, they've given you a very handy dandy tool where you can drag and drop and create the change the font size and line heights. So doing that, you can adjust it, but you also have in these layer options, the fourth icon is the layer options, and in the layer options you have a content where you can change Okay, so this is going to be my, or I want to change it and say technology redefined. Okay, and now I will go to the style, and then I can define a style for it. So I can change this text size, and then I can also change the whether it will be a bold and or what the bold level will be on this font, because right now we have the custom whatever the style template was available. We can define different fonts from the font list, and you can also define the text color. So I want to go with a green text color, let's say yellow text color, or whichever text color I want to go with. You can define, of course, the transparency and stuff like that. Okay, so this is going to be, and you can always drag and drop these images. One tip that I have for you is to always align this from the center. So then when you drag and drop it, then it's always a relative position. So you go to the size and position, and then you can click on the center line here and the vertical center line here. So now this is the absolute center of your slide. So now you can drag it. So now that's relatively positioned, so you can it'll always look nice. So that is where it is. Once again, we go back to style, and now if you want to put some backgrounds on this color, let's say my sliders conflicting with it and I want this text to be more readable, you can put a slide background color in it like that, and maybe adjust the transparency so the picture is still visible behind it. So now you can see that there is a background, so my text is more defined, it doesn't conflict that much with my background, and now it's more readable. So M is the margin and P is the padding. So if I want to do 10 pixel all over, I will just do 10 pixel all over. So that will add some padding in my layer. So there you will see that there is some spacing, and it won't look very crowded. So that is the intent that we want to do. So now we have defined 10. Maybe we should have defined more, but you get the idea. Now it looks centered and the text looks nicer. So that is how you do a text layer. Now moving on, because this is going to be a quick tutorial, moving on to the animation. Now you can click on the animation tab right there, and then you will see a keyframes panel come up. So how you define animation is you click on so there are two things: animation from and animation to, where the animation starts playing with the keyframe is the animation from, and where the last animation that it does is the animation to. So basically when it comes in like this, and when it goes out like that. So what you want to do is to drag down this icon that says the in animation, and then you can do so many different animations. So then you can select from maybe, okay, so I want to slide it. So slide from top will be like that. As soon as you hover over it, it gives you a preview as well. You can do long slide from left. You can do a short slide from left, which is a shorter slide. So we'll do a long slide from left. Okay, so that is what I want to do. Long slide from left. I'm thinking where I selected slide transitions, long slide from left. Okay, so now you can define a bunch of things like the X transformation, Y transformation, stuff like that, whether you want to be character based, word based, line based. You see all those options. The duration of the animation is what defines the speed of the animation. So if you want a little slower, you can go up on that speed. Like 1500 will be slower than 1000, and I will just go ahead and save that. So now that it is saved, I will just go ahead and put that in. Okay, so now you can see that technology redefined is coming in from the left. Okay, so that is how you do the basic animation, and I just showed you a basic text layer with a basic animation. Let's say you want to do like a character based or letter based animations. You can do, so letters can fly in from the right, from the top, and letter flip from the top. So let's say we want to do this. That's cool. So letter flip cycle is cool. So I will select that. and then you can say save as well. And now you can see that you can do character based, letter based, stuff like that, and you can also change the speed of the animation. Now let's say I want to bring in some content, and to do that I will add another text layer. This time I'm gonna go with a content, so I can get a template to choose from, and this template will be, let's say I'm liking this one, or I'm liking this one. Okay, so I select that, and now my new layer is styled based on that template. And again, I can drag and drop it. The first thing I'm going to do is size and position it, and then you can do center line, and you can do a vertical center line, and now you can drag it to position, and then you can also adjust the size. Okay, so if you want the text to be bigger, let's get some lorem ipsum text, so we have something to work with. Okay, and this is the text, let's say we want to display in our page, so I'll just go ahead and copy that, and then again we go to the content tab, and here we can define the text that our screen is gonna show. Okay, so this definitely needs some breaks, so you can see printing might be a good one to break on first. So you can put HTML in these layers as well, so I'm just gonna use a page break. And now has been, I want to do another break, so like that. And since might be another break, so I will put a break like that, and then a gallery, whatever galley of type, so I will do a break here, and then the book is where it ends. So that is what I want to do, and I will put that, and I will maybe put a background and some padding on this one as well. So that is done. I can change the alignment of this text, and I can also put some HTML tags if I choose to, like predefined ones, so you can style it based on your theme styles as well. So I'll just leave it as a RS layer and drag it back to where it was, and go ahead and define padding for it. So now I'm just gonna go and do styles and just do background, because white is the color I want to go with. Background, I want to go yellow, and I'll make it very transparent, or I want to do black, might be a good one, but yellow, yeah, it's not very readable, so maybe black will be a better option. And I can select the transparency, so I can select, and these can be like the same transparency as I used for the previous one, or like however you want it to be. And now I can define padding, so I will do a little more, and then I will select 20 pixels padding this time. So what is the difference between margin and padding? Margins are simply spaces, so if you put margins, then it'll be spaced that much pixels from the edge, but if you're padding, then the overall rectangle is not gonna change, and just the space that you're putting in inside is going to change. So that is my padding. Now you can see that I'll have to adjust this image, and that is how it'll look like. And now what I want to do is, first I want to save it, and when this is saved, I want to go to animation and maybe select an animation on this. So to do an animation, you simply select that, and then you have a letter transition where you can do a lot of lettering, letters transitions, but I want to just simply rotate this or slide this. So rotations, and you can select what kind of rotation you want. So flip from top looks like a good one for that, and we'll just go ahead and flip from top that one. So you can see that my text one is the heading, and text two is the content slide, and you have the timeline there. So the editor, you can drag this and see how it'll look like, and you can drag these layers timeline as well to adjust when they will be live. So now, right now, if I start dragging, my background appears, and then the first layer comes in there. So I want to do text one. Okay, so which one is text one? Okay, so text one is the content that I added. So text one, I want to maybe start from a delayed position. So what I'm going to do is drag that here, and okay, so now I'll redo the slide. So now you will see that my background appears here, and then I'm going. My heading starts coming in, which is text 0, and when I go ahead and do this, now my text comes in. So you can see I can adjust these timelines by dragging. You can also adjust these timelines in the side panel here. Also, you see a bunch of I'll just go ahead and save it so I don't lose the changes, and then I'll also show you a preview. So now I'll just refresh the page, and now you will see that after the slide loads, the background comes first, and you can see that this came in and then that came in, and after these two come in, I also want a button, maybe like a blue button that is a call to action. So what I want to do is add another button. Once we add a button, then, and you can also put short codes or however you want to style these things right there as well. So I'll just click on the button, and my button is showing over there now. So I'll just close this panel, and now I can size and position. I always want to style from the center, so that's where it's gonna be, and just a little left on the slide, and you can put a button like that or like that. So you can put a button and like that, and then you can go to content tab right there and just say something that you are offering. So you can do like that. Okay, and then we'll just go ahead and save that, and then you can style that. And once you go to style, you have all the different kinds of colors that you can put in the button. So okay, so I might want to go yellow or something like that matches more with my first image right there. So that's pretty much that. We'll just keep it blue for the time being because it looks nice. You can also define margins and paddings on the text on this button, and you can lock layers as well. So you can lock layer, you can preview the layer, or you can, I don't know what exactly this is, maybe, oh okay, so this adjusts this wait time on the slide. So alright, so my button 2 is, so first we'll go ahead and save that. Now if I play, you see that my background comes in. My button starts with the slider, so I want it to come in later. So what I'm going to do is simply drag this like after the slides come in, like that, and you see my timeline is going up to 4 seconds because I defined the slide time to be 4 seconds. So if it was 9 seconds, then I can adjust till here. So maybe we should make it 9 seconds. So you go to the third icon there, and you can define like what time will this be there for. So I will define it at 9,000, which means 9 seconds. And now you see that my timeline is going up all the way to 9 seconds, so I can adjust these things and define them easily. So now we'll just add some. So now you can see that if you start playing the slide, here comes the background, and we are going forwards, and now my heading comes in, which is text 0, and then okay, and then my button is gonna come in. Okay, now let's start some put some animation on the button. So we will animate the button. We go in and we do rotate from bottom like that, and then we define a speed. So I will define the speed to be 1300. We want a little slower than it is, and we'll just go ahead and save it. So you can see I put in a effect on the background image for the slide as well. So now we are gonna go and simply refresh this page, and you will see the effects in action. So once the slider loads, okay, there you go, and now my button comes in and rotates. You can also make it slide. You can do a X transition, Y transition, however you would like to go about it. So that's pretty much it. On my quick and dirty tutorial on how to create revolution slider and give you an introduction of the new environment. Now let's talk about how you can duplicate these slides. So to duplicate these slides, you have a new slide 1 here, so you can do all these things to it. So you can delete it, you can clone it, you can go to its setting, or you can preview it. So what I'm going to do is simply clone it, and then it creates another slide which is based on slide number 1. And like if you select, right now it is selected, it's a slide number 2. So now if we edit this one, we can always go back to slide number 1, and you can also come back to slide number 2. So if you want to edit this, simply select this, and then you can go to the content tab and say, okay, so this is slide 2, something else, something else. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and save it. And we want to make everything nice and aligned, so I'll save again. And we'll just play this, refresh the page. So now you'll see that the first slide is coming in, and like all my animations around my layers will stay. And this is basically remaining on the page till 9 seconds. And then the slide number 2 is coming in. So this is slide number 2 showing up. Obviously you're going to change the animations and stuff like that you want to change. So now you can see that my first slide load again, and it shows you the effect that I put in, and you can control how many loops there will be, and if you want to keep looping the single slide all over again. So that is also an option. This was my quick and dirty tutorial on how you can do things. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the video sliders, and we'll just create a slider with a video and show you some of the effects and how you can put text on the video and some of the things that you can do with your video slides. So this is a very popular and modern concept these days, and a lot of people are doing it. So let's jump right into that. I'll just create a new blank module like we did for the sliders. And also you can mix and match. You can have a video slide, you can have a picture slide, whatever you're looking to do, but I just wanted to make it nice and simple. So I'm creating a new slider from scratch. So again, we'll just follow the same process as we did before. We'll just create the slider. I'll go to the next step. Full width is fine, and intelligent inheriting is good, and we'll just go to the editor. Okay, so now we just want to add a video slide here. So I'll go to the slide options, and for the type, we are going to, instead of a transparent, we were selecting image before for the image. You could also do a HTML5 video in case you have something uploaded in your media library. If that happens to be YouTube, you can also do YouTube video. So if you select YouTube, you can enter a YouTube ID here. YouTube ID is the part of the URL after v equals, and then there's the ID. So that's the ID that you want to put here. If you want to pull the poster from the YouTube, you can do a YouTube poster as well. You can upload a custom poster as well. So in our case, we are just going to go with the HTML5 video that I've uploaded in my media library. I will select a video. It's called Transport. I did a New York City as well. So we will update the video source, and now we want the poster. So for the poster, we are going to go to media library again and update it. I think yeah, that's the one that I created. It's basically just a screenshot of the video. Usually it's good to provide a poster from where the video will be starting. So that gives you a great starting point and a natural transition. So you don't have to go back and forth. So that is pretty good. So that is my image, and that is my video right there. And my slider, if I check the settings, it's called slider-1. So I'll just save and update the page to use slider 1. And we'll go to the okay, and this doesn't have a slider 1, so we'll have to refresh it because we just created slider 1 and my page was open before we created that. So now I should have it in the list. So we go down again, slider number 1. So okay, so I'll update the page. So the page is updated and now I can view it. So we will just open a new tab and open that. And now what you will see is the poster image coming in first, and there goes the video. So now the video is playing, and okay, so nice and fine, the video is playing, and now what we are going to do is just add some text layers on it. So just a single layer. So I'm gonna select a text layer and I will say quick style headline and select something. So I'll wait for the templates to load. Okay, and we'll do that, and just close that and go to the content and like so. And then we will maybe change the color to black or something, and maybe put some animations. So the first thing that I always do is to make sure that my slides are aligned properly, so I can, oh okay, so I don't want to work with the new layer, and this is my slide. So what I'm going to do is to drag it up and here. So all right, now I can also change the font size and stuff. So I can just drag this guy and make it a little big, and then maybe center it or something. Like we'll have to play around with the position. This is too big, so I will go down a little, and then we can change the color. So instead of that, we want to be that color. Okay, welcome to my city. And we want this to have some animation, so we go to the animation tab and select the in animation on it. Maybe you can add a letter transition and letters, okay, like that. So that's the one that I want to go with, and the 1200 is fine, and we will just go ahead and save that. Okay, so now that my text layer is coming in and my video is playing in the background, let's see what kind of effects we can do on the video. So select the background animation layer here, and then we go to the slide background right there. So okay, so that is the video that I updated with a poster image. Now what we are going to do is we are going to click on the on scroll thing, and here you can define a parallax if you'd like on your video. So when you scroll down, then you have a parallax effect. The text doesn't seem to be scrolling and the video is going to scroll. So that's pretty cool. That's something you can do. Also, you can put effects on it on scroll. So for example, you can do a grayscale or blur. So enable scroll base. So I'm gonna do a grayscale on enable scroll base. And once I save it and then I refresh it, now you're gonna see my text layer once my slider loads, as well as, so there is the text coming in, it's too high. And once I scroll down, oh okay, so because it's too light, I don't think it's visible. Maybe we can do some other okay, and we'll do blur as well. I just don't want to be debugging here, but okay, while we are at it, we need to push this down a little bit. So maybe like that, so it appears. Okay, and we'll center it on the screen. So we'll go to this and content. Welcome to my city, and go to the size and position and center it. Okay, so that's good. Now we will see if we can get the scroll effect going. So I'll refresh it again. So there comes my slide, and you can see that it's slight blur because there is a effect that I've put into place. Now it's in focus because right now the viewport or the display area is on the video, and as I go down you'll see a blur effect again. So that's the blur on the scrolling that you can do on Revolution slider. So you can do that on each slide that you have. Now let's see what kind of effect is that, and just so we can is it the fade? So to do what kind of effect this is, we are gonna on scroll again, and this doesn't have any parallax, blur and fade. So if I disable the blur and disable the grayscale, let's see what effect does blur have. So I'll refresh the slider again. Okay, so there's my video playing, and if I go down you see that it's blurred. So now you can have more text on this image. Similarly, you can do other effects as well, and then you can also do the other options that you have, like animation. You can define animation, you can define parallax, you can have layers come in, you can have images come in. One another tip for you is whenever the image is coming in, make sure they are transparent, so then they will kind of look nice on another image. So that is my short and dirty tutorial on how to do video slides. I wanted to make it a part of my Revolution slider series. Next time, or I will find some time to do the premium version. I have the purchase code, and I want to show you what you can do with the templates and what kind of templates there are. So if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, make sure you give a like to my video and subscribe to the channel for a lot of more upcoming content. And thanks so much for watching. If you need any professional help from me in your project, you can just send me an email from my website that is in the description. Thanks very much for watching.